quit my job. I mean, I didn't walk out or anything. I put my 2 weeks notice in. But, yep. It's been kind of a struggle with school and work. It's been a crazy schedule, which is fine. But just was getting to a point where my days off and my shifts and everything weren't really working out the way I wanted them to, and I would have days off on days I couldn't go to school, and I was going to school 25 hours a week when I could be going 40. So I was like on track to not graduate until May. With this, I'm hoping that I can graduate in like January. So I'll be at school like all day, every day now, cutting a lot more hair, learning more, hopefully getting a lot better, improving faster, getting to do more things. It's tough because when I'm only there in the mornings, you know, I can only do maybe 3 or 4 haircuts, and I don't get to practice on the same thing over and over and over again. Whereas if I'm there all day and my instructor wants me to work on, you know, side parts or hard parts or whatever it might be, then he can feed me those all day, and I can, you know, work on those, and you can learn from cut to cut. But when I only get to do like one, you know, I'm doing 2 burrs and a hard part, and then the next day coming back in and doing 2 burrs and a hard part, like it's hard to learn when you're only doing one of these cuts a day. So I'm very excited about that. Going to go back to one of my old jobs and work in the evenings, and it might be a struggle financially. We'll see. Luckily, my girlfriend is doing really well right now, and you know, if it comes to that, she's there to help me, so that's awesome. She's awesome. But you know, I've heard people say, like, bet on yourself, and I don't want to sound like melodramatic or like overly kind of inspirational, but that's just what I've been thinking lately. Is just like, you know what, I can continue to do this for a year and be miserable and not sleep and, you know, barely get to go to school and not graduate being as good of a barber as I want to be, or as good as I think I can be at this, or I can take this opportunity to bet on myself and say, you know what, I might struggle for 6 months to, you know, get through this, and I might have to cut back and not buy, you know, 25 Blu-rays a month, or you know, whatever. I know that's not really a struggle, but you know, I might have to change the way I live for 6 months or so, but it'll be worth it in the end, and I'll be better because of it. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm gonna bet on myself, and I'm gonna be better because of it. So that's where we're at. So I've had a couple of interesting people at school lately. This is Freddie Mercury right here. He wants to be on every episode. If I'm recording in a room, he is scratching and barking at the door because he wants to be in there. So he's going to be on this week, aren't you? Say hi. He would be more interested if I had Sour Patch Kids. He's a big fan of Sour Patch Kids. Anyway, so I had 2 people that I wanted to talk about. One, sometime I'll have like really good stories to tell about, like, oh my god, this person came in and they let me do their hair and it was great and everything, but these are not the stories. This guy comes in and he sits down in my chair and he's like, yeah, I want a hard part. I'm like, okay, cool, I can do that. And then he's like, well, I want, you know, this and this and this and this and this. So like what he's describing to me is like he wants a crew cut with a line in it. Hi. Fine, we can do that, but he's like receding, So maybe shaving a line into it's not going to be the best idea. But anyway, so I'm working on it, and I cut it like a hard part, with the, the little bit of weight over here for the, the blended side. And I show it to him. He's like, no, that's too much. This fade needs work over here. It's not blended. And I'm like, right, well, the line here, and so I work on it. And it's not the fade that's messed up. It's where the weight is blending in from the top. And I show it to him, and he's like, no, get him over here, and wants my instructor to come and fix his hair. And pissed me off. Which is like, it's fine if I have like messed up a haircut, or like it's not finished and I need help, or somebody's not having it. I get it, but like, I did what the guy asked for, and then he decided, oh, that's not what I want. That's not what I want. Like, you don't know what you're talking about, which I think is maybe not that uncommon, that people come in and they're like, well, I want this, and they name the haircut. Like, I don't know how many times I've heard people say, like, yeah, just take 2 inches off. And I'm like, that's a lot of hair. And what they mean is, like, take it down to 2 inches. Which, I get, that's part of our job, is like the consultation and talking through it and making sure we're giving them the, the haircut that they want. But I think a lot of people would be better served to ask questions better than making statements, especially if you're going to be an asshole about it. This other guy, right? Yeah, he agrees with me. This other guy, old man, comes in, and he stops in front of my chair. Can you not put your nose on the camera, please? Stops in front of my chair, and he goes, now you don't move the chair once you get it in place. And I was like, what? And he's like, you don't move the chair once you got it in place. And he's an old guy, and I'm thinking, like, is he trying to drop some kind of like old-timey barber shit on me? Like, is this going to be like a, some kind of like, he's going to tell me why you don't move the chair once you got it in place, like it's bad luck, or something like that. And I go, okay. And he goes, you don't move it once you got it in place. You don't move the chair once you got it in place. And I'm like, is this a fucking riddle? Like, is he not going to let me cross his bridge if I don't know the answers? I don't know what's happening. And I'm like, okay. And so he sits down in the chair, and he's like, I got an inner ear problem, and you don't want me to vomit all over your chair. And I was like, well, why didn't you lead with, I have an inner ear problem? Like, oh, I have vertigo. If you spin the chair, I'll get sick. Like, when you're like, you don't spin the chair. You don't move the chair. No, we don't like that, do we? You don't move the chair once you get it in place. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't know what's happening. If he had started with, like, I have an inner ear problem, I'd be like, oh, okay, cool, I'll try not to move the chair. And I'd have been very courteous about it. But, like, when you come at me barking, or, don't move the chair. What? People. So this week, I'm not going to be talking about one movie so much as just kind of what I've been watching a lot of the last couple weeks. So, still working my way through all the Argento movies. I would say I've seen the majority of them now. I've got a few on my list. I just got Stendhal Syndrome in the mail this week, so I'm excited to see that one. I just watched Inferno last night. What I've been watching lately, I have watched Return of the Living Dead like 4 or 5 times lately. I've watched Re-Animator 2 or 3 times. I just rewatched Dr. Giggles. Re-Animator, I love so much. It and Return of the Living Dead, I think, they just kind of captured this like mood that I love, and it's like they're funny, but they're not like, I don't know. I think a lot of times when horror movies go for comedy, they swing big and they miss big. These swing big and they connect. So they're both super weird, but so fun. And you know, if you heard me do these reviews, like, there's nothing more that's going to get me to applaud a movie than it just being like fun. Doesn't mean it has to be necessarily good, but if it's fun, I'm in. And these two are both definitely fun and weird, and God, I wish they made more movies like this. Like, I have such a soft spot for 80s horror in general. And like, those two kind of encompass all the stuff that I love about it. I mean, I also love like the 80s slasher movies that aren't, you know, funny. But they're just so, like, they're just perfect, kind of just the way they are. I watched all 3 of the Maniac Cop movies, and I think I watched the first one more than once. God, so good. Right there with the kind of Return of the Living Dead, with like stuff that I could just watch over and over again. And the thing to me that's crazy is like the stunts in them are like, those are real stunts. Like in part 2, I won't spoil them because like everybody, if you haven't seen Maniac Cop 1, 2, and 3, you should go see them immediately, because they're, I don't know what else to say. They're incredible. But the stunt work in them is crazy, and you watch it and you're like, God, if they did this today, it would be like they would do the CG. But back then it had to be practical. And it's like, that's a real person doing all this insane shit, these huge falls. There's just a thing at the end of, I think it's at the end of the first one, where they drive like, think like a UPS truck off a pier into the water. And there's a guy holding on to the side of it, and he does like a backflip off of the UPS truck, and then it lands in the water like 3 feet away from him. Like, totally could have been crushed to death on this thing. And you don't see shit like that in movies anymore. But all the stunts are awesome. The whole series is great. This is kind of been like a rambling review, but I think this whole episode has been kind of like me, kind of like, I don't want to say in my feelings, but kind of, where it's just like totally off the top of my head. And I don't know if that's good or bad. I guess it'll all come out in the editing and we'll see. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to. Oh, one other thing, because the Dr. Sleep trailer just dropped, so I have to talk about this. I didn't read it, the audiobook of The Shining, and then went right into Dr. Sleep, and I'm probably going to get heat for this, but, excuse me. I hate The Shining book. I hate it. I don't like any of the characters except for, I'm blanking on his name. Dick. He was great. Everybody else I can't stand. I don't think anybody's likable. Dr. Sleep, on the other hand, I loved. I didn't want to ever like stop listening to it. I burned through it really quickly. The Shining was a chore to get through, and Dr. Sleep was just awesome all the way through. And the trailer looks so good. I can't wait for that movie to come out. I'm super excited for it. And I'm anxious to see what they do with it. So, Return of the Living Dead, Re-animator, Dr. Sleep, Maniac Cop, Child's Play, I think, comes out this weekend. So I definitely am going to have to be seeing that. And I think that's everything. So, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe.